serve Ramune, drink chilled, remove the plastic film from
Be
the
a little
top.
bitch and just do it.
Well, it doesn't tell you how to remove the plastic film.
Just pull it.
Oh my God, don't use your teeth.
I told you. I got. There you go.
There it is.
All right, so we got
All right.
Colby a soda pop here.
Oh, there we go.
And he's about to open it. It's Japanese soda pop. All right. Okay, so now you're going to
soda
want to...
pop.
All right, here we go. Let's try this. Give this
And
fucking thing a whirl.
Push. No, wait, you have to push just the center.
Oh, just the center?
Yep.
Here we
And-
go, boys.
Yep.
It's party time.
Yep.
All the way.
Come on.
Party
Jesus.
It's party time.
You're useless, you Corey.
Hey!
Kanpai!
And welcome to Maximum Driftcast, the only Driftcast filmed in Japan, Arizona. Hey! Hey, guys.
Hey.
Konnichiwa,
What do-
Corey.
So I walk in to this beautiful setup here. Can you guys tell me what we have?
So right now we have a table full of Japanese products that Paco picked up from the local Japanimart, as well as some explicit mangas that he's hiding under the table.
Yeah, my they're not mangas, they're called
Hentai.
Hentai.
Yeah, so we got some weird
Hey.
stuff with octopuses I don't understand.
tentacle sex porn. Tentacle porn. Tentacle porn, yeah. Hentai tentacle porn.
Well, cheers to you
But
guys.
we've got some sakis, and Colby over here has got
Corey likes yaoi.
he's drinking some...
The marble
Oh, wait,
keeps...
is yaoi, is that the boys kissing boys stuff?
Yes.
The marble plugs the sucker
Oh
valve.
no, that you see sorry, these little things right here.
Colby, you're a plug expert.
You drink it that way, so that holds a marble in place.
I was drinking it backwards.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the marble was plugging the sucker valve on this thing, so I wasn't getting much.
just go a little, like, show the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Oh,
what's it taste
it's a
like?
loud slurp.
Oh,
That's wet.
That's good.
oh god, this tastes like sangria.
Sangaria, that's a brand.
What does that
It just
say?
tastes like sugar.
Paco, why do we have a table full of Japanese stuff?
Oh, because tonight we're taking you, the audience,
On a
Into
journey
a-
of the senses.
a
yeah.
journey on the senses
So
across
sit back,
the Pacific Ocean. Sit back and enjoy.
sit
Buckle-
back,
Please practice safety and buckle your seatbelts.
sit back, and pick up your favorite hentai, your favorite yaoi,
Yaoi hentai for Corey.
tentacle
Tentacle
sex
porn. Your hentai pillowcase, like
Yep.
full body pillowcase, and we're gonna go to a very special place that every drifter
Dreams
loves and dreams about going and
Wow.
and like just experiencing it. It's
Not me.
whatever.
I'm an indoor cat. I just kind of liked my new. Oh yeah, speaking of, this is my new abode, and this is
Yeah.
our new studio for Maximum Driftcast for the time being.
I thought this was one of those little Japanese.
It is. We're in Japan.
Yes.
But it's Japan, Tempe, Arizona, which is only about a mile away from my last place, and I've got a nice, cool loft up here where I
It's
do
so
my work,
cool.
do my business, but I'm still moving. And you guys just brought a bunch of new shit into my house that I don't need. So
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you have a loft where we can start throwing shit off of
Yeah,
stuff you don't want.
That is actually the most fun about having a loft is that every single box that I unpack, I just throw it off the edge. And the other fun part is that Stephanie, my girlfriend, and I were worried before moving in here that the Bengal cat that we own would jump off the 30-foot drop and hurt himself. And literally within 2 hours of being in the loft, that's exactly what he did. Except for he didn't hurt himself, thankfully, but he did jump off the loft.
That's because cats are stupid.
He is. And then he jumped directly onto Stephanie's head is the best part. So it wasn't even, he didn't even have any goal. And thankfully he's okay, and I think he's hopefully going to stop jumping off the 30-foot drop.
You're
But
a real cat lover.
I have a cat for you, Sam. It's
Yeah.
a cat cookie.
I like dogs too, and I don't like animal-shaped cookies, but, well, I'm sorry that you guys don't have any hobbies or interests like me.
Yeah.
Nope.
I just
That's
go
gonna suck.
home and watch Hulu.
Rip on some
Where
yoi.
all the anime is.
I stick to the basic coloring books and crossword puzzles and Sudokus.
Are they erotic crossword puzzles?
They're the same hentai ones that Paco
They're
was
not
talking
coloring
about.
books, Corey. They're manga.
Oh, manga. that's
Manga
what I meant.
is black
And
and
also
white.
they're already colored. You don't need to put your own crayons.
No,
all
no, no.
over.
Actually,
I
no.
just watch
Manga's
them. I just look at
black,
them.
mostly black and white. It's paperback.
Paco,
Oh,
you
is it? How,
fucking
how do you know
nerd.
this, you fucking
Nerd.
wizard?
Yeah, that-
You're a Japanese porn wizard.
Cultural appropriation. Remember?
Say that word.
Cultural appropriation.
Keep saying it.
Appropriation.
What's
Nope.
Cultural appropriation.
Nope.
You almost threw up on the last one.
Damn it.
Keep trying.
Appropriation.
Almost.
appropriation?
Appropriation.
Yeah. I was missing a letter there.
You're missing a couple letters, Paco.
So next one thing that we forgot to mention last week that was I think big in the drift world, and I'm not even sure what it means. Maybe Colby and Paco could drop some more knowledge. Is that the FIA certification board had mentioned that they are going to start looking into drifting.
Yeah, they're interested on getting drifting into one of the FIA sports.
So the big question that I think a lot of people have is, does that mean Formula Drift becoming FIA, or are they talking about starting their own league?
That's one option. Like if Formula Drift can actually apply for FIA certification, but at the same time they would have to follow FIA rules.
What does that mean,
Corey? You're the professional racer here.
Super strict guidelines. Probably parts have to be homologated.
Which that's a whole
sanctioning
thing, yeah.
organization.
But what does that mean?
That means that sometimes products will have to be, and you could correct me if I'm wrong on this, might be, but products have to go through some sort of approval through the sanctioning body to say that it's okay to run on your car. So, like I'm trying to think, like American Le Mans Series has a lot of homologations on like suspension components and exhaust and intakes, and you can only run certain products.
So
and it's just stricter guidelines, stricter rules makes it more competitive.
But this is going to be a good thing for the series if let's say that they do adopt these rules in FD, or maybe would they open up a whole nother circuit? That feels like it'd be too much, honestly.
Well,
but I don't know.
The thing is, FIA is kind of like a world organization. So usually FIA.
Did you say a werewolf organization?
Yeah, it's a werewolf organization.
Okay, go on.
And they the idea is kind of like to standardize the sport for the entire world, to have like a
Gotcha.
how there's some differences on Formula on D1 and Formula Drift.
I don't know of any. I wish we could talk to someone that would know, but I don't think anyone
maybe
exists.
We'll see. I mean,
After
all, we're in Japan.
Yeah, we are in Japan. I don't know anybody besides Kobayashi, the
Yeah.
hot dog eating champion.
Oh, I have something about that though.
Oh,
Well, we'll wait till we're done with this FIA stuff.
okay. The FIA.
FIA.
But yeah, so it could be good, a way for somebody to come up with a new series that's legitimately a world series. So there's one round in the States, one round in Brazil.
What Formula Drift has been trying to do now for a couple years.
Well, definitely they're trying, because now they have Formula Drift China, they have Formula Drift Japan, Formula Drift Canada,
Moon,
Formula Drift Moon, Formula Drift
Cleveland.
Uranus.
Uranus.
I was going to say it, but I knew you were going to say it.
So I think they have four or five countries. I think didn't they do Singapore or Philippines? What was it? I can't remember. It's another
Seymour Hoffman.
Yes.
He was one of the drivers in that series.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he
Dropped into a wall.
overdosed. He overdosed in the middle of a run.
Ooh, tasteless. Too soon, Paco.
Oh my! I'm not the one who brought him. Okay.
Too soon.
Oh, you should try that. Corey, it's delicious.
No.
So if you've been hearing a lot of loud chewing into the microphone, that's Paco eating his Japanese style rice cracker. What does it say? Rice crackers wrapped in seaweed and peanuts.
Naughty piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff is nuts.
So, I mean,
So it's going to be a good thing potentially but all we know so far is that they're exploring it, right?
Yeah, this is crazy stuff. I'm more of a traditional picky eater.
I'm not talking about.
I like eating.
I'm talking about drifting and
spaghetti.
Yeah.
But no, I just took a look at whatever these things were, and that just looks absolutely disgusting.
What's disgusting?
But you don't
about
eat.
it?
But hold on, Corey. You don't eat sushi though.
I don't eat sushi. I don't eat seaweed.
He doesn't eat vegetables.
What's wrong with seaweed? It's the same as like eating lettuce.
The closest thing to a fresh vegetable Corey has touched in the past 10 years is tomato
spaghetti
sauce in SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. Like, I'm digging these, whatever these are.
It's just chocolate. That's just chocolate.
That's
Corey.
good for you. I call them vitamins.
Hey, give it a sip. Give a sip to that little bottle.
Give that little bottle to a sip. Give a sip to it.
Give that little pink bottle a sip.
He's asking you to spit.
Yeah, they have some wild food there.
That's just a Hello Kitty soy sauce.
Hello Kitty soy sauce. It doesn't get more JDM than that.
Is that JDM?
Mad JDM.
I guess
tight.
it's Mad JDM.
Yeah, JDM as fuck.
So it's funny you mentioned Kobayashi. We just got off the 4th of July here.
We celebrated our independence from Japan.
As hopefully you guys saw on all of our social medias.
So those guys
We did our own little karaoke thing. Thus, this episode being out a day late. 'Cause, we actually haven't hung out together for fun. I think, since way before the show started.
Oh yeah.
We just have us work shit. We don't actually chill or get ill
Nope.
or thrill or spill. But we got a little karaoke'd up.
And bowled up.
And we did bowling. I taught Corey everything I knew.
We did almost a perfect 100 score.
Yeah, I broke 100 once.
Well, I mean, our official score was the very last one.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like a 52, 56, and 62.
But let's
so
go
I
back.
officially
Hold
won.
on. Let's go back to the first practice game.
Yeah.
Oh, then the practice we killed it, but we were
I
just
was sitting at a
practicing.
cool almost 159.
Yeah, Colby, he was actually trying, and he was kind of
With a home ball.
But
I
then-
used a 12-pound home ball.
But here's where you're an uber nerd though, because you
He got pregnant.
you were in a bowling league when you were younger.
yeah, when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
But then suddenly
but
he
you
got-
still know the basics. You know how to rip.
Yeah.
I know
and then you got pregnant.
Yeah, and I got pregnant.
momentarily, and
Had to give up his
gave
dreams.
birth. No, he gave birth to
A
bowling.
12-pound baby.
Oh yeah, that
No,
was
14-pound baby
at
bowling
the,
ball.
right at the lanes.
that was wonderful.
Yeah.
That really surprised me, and it really surprised the group of high schoolers next to us. Because here's some 30-year-old guys that are giving birth to a bowling ball and then throwing it down the lane.
Well, the best part was our first game. We were super pumped. We did considerably
How
all
stoked
right.
were we? We were stoked.
I was so stoked. I was pumped. And then the second game came around. I started getting burred down after the second frame in the second game.
Mm-hmm. Second frame, second game.
And then we go to full turn-up mode. And then it turned into who had the best trick shot.
I think you won.
That was the first time I ever tried that. You guys can see that on our Instagram too, Maximum Driftcast. You can see some videos
and
of us.
Colby, before he did his whole pregnancy bowling ball trick, he had told me this is something that I've thought of for a long time and I've always wanted to do. And I guess he just didn't have the gumption to do it as
No, I
a
wasn't pregnant yet.
12-year-old
So
in the bowling
You
league.
literally popped your bowling cherry.
Whoa,
Paco,
anatomy.
hold on. Explain to us anatomy, Paco.
Okay.
Well,
so
I was thinking of
the bowling ball sits right on the upper pelvic area,
Okay.
and then Corey's taint
Oh boy.
opens up.
Oh God! Stop! Stop!
Okay.
Okay, let's
Well, I
stop
was
there.
thinking since we're doing this special Japanese episode, that Paco should give us some history on Japan or the United States.
History of Japan. Let's do
Oh, I
that.
have a long history of friendship and
our two countries.
Yes.
Friends forever. I've always heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Like whatever you hear on history, disregard.
It's bogus.
It's bogus. It's America and Japan, friends forever, BFFs.
They are my senpai,
Yeah.
as they say. No, I was gonna say for 4th of July, Kobayashi. Does he still compete? No, he retired from the hot
Did he?
dog.
The hot dog eating competition.
think
Yeah,
he
well, because Corey got in, he was like, well,
Yeah. No,
Game
but
over.
So Joseph Chestnuts, he won. Beat his Joseph Chestnuts. He beat his old record, I believe, and everyone's record, and did like 70-something hot dogs. But one of my friends, Michelle Lesko,
Yeah, I remember.
she got 3rd place for women. With like,
Wow.
she was disappointed though. She only ate 27. I think she could do mid to high 30s.
what's
if
crazy
she's on
that
a good
she's
day,
not a
but-
big woman.
Oh yeah, no, she is a 100-ish pound little girl that eats 10 pounds of food for practice.
Do you know what I'm going to make her next time I see her?
What?
A hot dog crown.
Made out of live hot dogs?
Yeah, just going to tape it around her head and congratulate her on her 3rd place victory.
She wanted to do better, but that's still awesome to actually be at the Nathan's hot
My
dog
question
eating
is
competition.
when she eats the 10 pounds of food, does she?
That's always the question.
She always pukes after it.
No, they don't puke.
You're not allowed to.
You're not one to be competitive. You're not allowed to puke, but 2, they don't want to because they want to build their tolerance. If you think about where the sport has been, like sick, and it is a sport, it's crazy.
What
like
about
they
the
train all the
calorie
time.
intake?
I mean, their bodies, they're all fit. Well, they're not all
Yeah,
fit.
well,
they're,
but
they're
they're mostly like Chestnut is a fucking animal.
They're mostly fit-ish, yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, obviously, I don't think eating 10 pounds of hot dogs is healthy for you in one sitting. But
It's not like you're doing it every time.
I thought so. You were asking if they're going to throw up. I thought you were going to ask the other way, which is what I'm very curious about.
Just imagine giving birth to 10 pounds of hot dog afterwards.
I don't have to imagine it. I'm sitting
You
next to a
lived it.
full-grown hot. No. I'm just saying.
I'm
sitting,
a full-grown hot
I'm
dog.
sitting next to a full-grown hot dog right now. Someone gave birth to you, Corey. Colby.
Oh, thanks, Sam. Yeah,
Colby,
this,
Corey.
I'm really, guys. I'm telling you right now, I'm really excited to go on this Japanese journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to go, but I'm looking forward to
What's your
going.
favorite part of Japan so far?
Probably the chocolate strawberry nipples. And what else did we eat? Oh, and the
If you hear all the noise in the background, that's Paco now opening up what looks like a thermos full of wine coffee. I can't tell.
It is delicious sake infused with ume fruit.
What is it?
What's an ume?
It's,
fruit?
ume is like a what's it called? Like a small peach, like an apricot.
Okay. What? Hold on. Wait. What's happening? This
Oh,
is a different ringtone.
what the
this
heck?
could only
Hold
be
on,
someone.
let's- hold on.
Hello.
Hello.
Who goes there?
あ、もしもし。
Oh, もしもし
What does that
もし
mean?
もし。
もしもしごめんなさい
What the?
ありがとうこんにちは先生よノリやろ
なんだ
What the hell?
なんで英語できないかよ。
はいはい86
あ、86。
はい
あ、わかりました。あ、そっかそっか。あ、お前、バカな3人ですよね。Hey, how you doing, guys? It's Alexi from Noriyaro.
Oh, there you go.
That was weird.
I got scared for a second. How was my Japanese?
Flawless.
I understood every word, but it didn't make sense.
Of course.
You guys just had a moment right there. I was totally caught off guard by that. That was great.
I felt it. I felt the connection.
Well, domo arigato, Mr.
Bato.
Noriyaro.
Mr. Noriyaro.
Noriyaro.
Hey.
Domo Hi.
Hey, who are you?
Hey, yeah, my name's Alexi Smith. I'm the guy who runs the website noriyaro.com and the associated YouTube channel. Thought I'd give you guys a call. I know you talk about drifting, so...
Yeah, we're here in Japan actually.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were sitting here talking about we were planning on going on this amazing Japanese journey. We just needed a tour guide. And it's just so funny out of nowhere you called us. We didn't expect it at all.
So weird.
Well, that's an amazing coincidence. I'd be more than happy to take you on a tour. I saw in the... I was creeping you guys in your live setup. I saw you've got all sorts of... alcohol and snacks there, which is looks pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
we just went to the corner store, that good old Japanese corner store that's outside our Japanese condo right now.
That's what Japan is all about, though, right? Alcohol, snacks, and 3 sweaty men in a loft condo.
You're more right than you know, really. Yeah.
My favorite was that used panties vending machine outside.
Juice pennies? Oh, used panties. Oh, they said juice pennies.
Used panties.
Yes.
I don't think that's a thing anymore, is it?
Yeah, I think don't they have used panties vending machines out there anymore? Hello?
Uh-oh, hold on. Uh-oh.
Jesus.
What the heck?
You put me on hold.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah, something
there you go.
happened.
We got an incoming call and shit got weird. So let's do a 5-second pause and we'll get back into it. Pause for 5 seconds and then respond to the used panty question. Cool?
Okay.
All right, hold.
Yep.
Hit it.
Yeah, well, recently you have to actually use, it's like the tobacco machines. You have to use an ID to use the used panty vending machines, though.
But they do exist still, and you can get used underwear.
So we're already going there, are we? Actually, literally, this is it's the most common question people ask, like, when they actually come to Japan. Like, I'll give an example.
Okay.
I was working once at, it was at the motor show. I was working once, it was at the motor show, and I was in charge of 5 Nissan GTRs, and we had to take people on like test drives of the car on public streets, right? And I had this guy, he was I think I don't know, he's from Portugal or something, and he didn't care about the car. All he wanted to know about was panty vending machines and schoolgirls, and like we're doing like. I'm showing him, look how fast it can go to 180 kilometers an hour on the expressway. And all he wanted to do was just talk about panties.
Jeez.
Quite bizarre.
What do you think he's into more than cars?
Well, you know, I mean, it is kind of odd, like when you first get here and you do see all like I remember that, like, literally I was on the train from the airport and this schoolgirl got on. I'm like, oh, that's not some sort of sex uniform. That's actually their real uniform.
That's what people are all fantasized about.
Yeah,
This is just a
see it all-
kid. That's weird.
You see that out of context so much. It's kind of weird. But
Just so you know, before you say something that might be offensive to Corey, he's a big fan of yaoi hentai.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. I have friends who are into that sort of thing too. So.
Oh, okay. So
Hold on, but I'm telling you guys right now, you're painting this amazing picture of Japan right now.
Yep.
Like, as of right now, I am ready to go.
well, we
All right,
should
so-
need to get out
all right, well,
outside.
Let's get into the real shit right now. Why do they censor wieners on porn?
I don't know the exact reason for that, but it is some sort of like the standard answer to that. It's like a post-war morality thing, where you can't show sexual organs in a sexual context. But the funny thing is, you can actually show buttholes. So you'll see, like for example, you pick up one of the DVDs with like a porno DVD,
Yep.
and you on the back cover you can see the girl's butthole, but you can't see anything else. But here's the thing: anything going in the butthole means the butthole is then sexual, so it needs to be censored. So it's all kind of weird. I don't know.
Isn't it also kind of a thing with? I can't believe we're going so deep into
This
this.
is so awesome. I love it.
We'll get to drifting later, but isn't that the thing like with like tentacle porn and shit? It's like because it's not an actual human part, they can kind of like uncensor it a bit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean you do have sort of phallus-shaped tentacles spewing white material out, and yeah, you don't have to actually censor it.
I can't wait till Form of the Drift shares this episode. Do you think they will, or do you want? I hope so.
Yeah, I want to call Ryan after this and be like, "Hey, we just did a great show. With
Don't
Alexi.
listen to it.
Don't listen to it or fast forward
I'm gonna
it.
get fired, aren't I?
Listen to the intro and the closer.
No, you haven't done anything wrong. You're telling us about
the culture. This
the
is
cultural
appropriation.
Look, I understand it. Look, I know it's the thing that everyone sort of wants to know, the whole inscrutable Japan. Why are they so serious and so crazy elsewhere? But no, I mean, like that's part of the fun of it, is sort of experiencing that sort of thing for yourself when you come here.
Okay, so with more, not this, Paco, do you have another porn question?
No.
Okay.
I was
going to move it to cars.
Yeah, trying to move away from that. So,
Well,
since you mentioned Formula Drift.
Well, I was going to say, before we go there, if we're
Okay.
just talking this basic Japan knowledge that I've always been interested in, but never been able to ask anyone really, how much does a R32 GTR cost there-ish? Because here they have gone up threefold in the past 3 years. Is it the same there, or is it just because of the import laws here?
It's pretty much exactly the same thing. I think it's a result of those laws, because all of a sudden, R32 GTRs are able to be exported to about triple the amount of countries and places where it's not yet saturated. Like, for example, Australia, you've been able to buy a GTR for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no real reason to import one when you can just buy one. Whereas in the States and places like that, all of a sudden everybody wants a GTR. Like, especially like if you go to the military bases here in Japan, especially Yokota Air Force Base. I've sort of always thought of it's a bit of a joke. Like when they get off the plane here, they're issued with their rifle and their greens and an R32 GTR.
Really?
Literally half the 32 GTRs you see getting around have a Y number plate, which is the military registration plate on them. So yeah, the prices have gone up here a lot as well. Also, mostly because they are getting old and they're a classic. Like
Becoming classics.
Yeah, well they are. I mean they came out like 1980. When did it? 1992, I think it was. I can't remember. Sorry,
it was
maybe
88,
1990.
It was 88, 89ish to 90.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
R32s, yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
You're an R32 owner, aren't you?
Well, me, I have a 32 GDST as a practice car, but I'm not really like. I don't nerd out over that sort of thing. I just if it starts when I put the P in, then.
You're disillusioned now, just because like when I was a 16-year-old, I was super hyped on like anything that was a 240SX or a WRX STI or anything like that. But now, after spending a decade or more with around those cars, like it's a fucking Supra. I've seen a couple of those, whatever. But I still nerd out over imported Skylines. So for you, I imagine being around that your whole life, not that huge of a thing.
Don't get me wrong. I still get that sort of, in my stomach, I get that sort of twinge, like, oh, look, it's a GTR. Like, I still get that. And
but I'm sure you get it. I'm sure you get it more when you're like, oh, look at that Ford El Camino.
You're actually right.
Look at that Chevy Cavalier.
Because you don't see it. Mustangs are making their way, but.
Oh, I mean, those sorts of things here. And the good thing is, in Japan is usually it's all the top end models too. Like you don't see like the V6 Mustang. It's always like the V8, full on
Shelby,
Boss, whatever. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's always like the full on model. It's like it looks really cool driving on the street.
Do you think it costs a lot more than it costs in America? I have no idea. Because does Ford have a major presence in Japan?
No, all those. A lot of those cars are brought in second hand, like especially the American models. Yeah. So it's not huge. But you do see quite a lot of Mustangs, especially, and the occasional like the new Challenger and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but, they're not really that common.
They must look so huge on the road because they look big on the road here. I'm seeing a Challenger go down the street, but
yeah, the Challengers are ridiculous. Like it looks like like a normal American car compared to like the width of like a Lamborghini. Like
Yeah.
the Challenger looks like that compared, especially like next to like a little K car that you see where it's like
Yeah. Now, are import laws to get an American car in Japan weird, like it is to get a modern Japanese car in America, or is it pretty lax?
I don't believe it's as weird. Like, for example, you can register a left-hand drive car in Japan with zero effort.
Really?
There's no real rule. Like, there's not rules as long as it was, I mean, if it was built that way, standard, you can bring it in. And until recently, it was actually sort of a status symbol to drive a left-hand drive car. Like, even Japan delivered, for example, Mercedes Benzes. You could buy them left-hand drive
Right.
as like, look, I'm driving a foreign car. And one funny result of that is go to like the toll booths and also sort of expensive parts of town. They have a ticket machine both the left and the right side of the entrance.
Interesting. Just
Like
a
you go to
cater,
Yeah, to cater to those people. Like there'll always be one tollway booth that has the ticket machine on the left.
Nice.
One car that I want you to start looking for me, Alexi, is a Hakasuka.
What's that?
Hakoska.
Hakoska.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
First generation
It means-
Skyline.
Nice. GTR.
What do those
the
go for
original.
out there, you think?
Oh man, like they can decent ones over $100,000 easily.
Yeah.
But what about a non-GTR Hakoska?
Well, yeah, you can buy the fake ones much cheaper, but those are the things like if any real Skyline guy in Japan will just like apparently I don't even know exactly the details, but they can just look at the car sort of like look at the dashboard or just like you look at the car from the outside for half a second and go, nah, it's fake, like and zero respect sort of thing. So
Yeah.
Well,
so
the other question on that is, a lot of these older cars, even like the old 86s and things like that, don't you guys have a weird rule on the age of the car that you can register, or is there some sort of tax on
It's
the
most
older
costly,
cars?
right? It's costly to own a car with a lot of miles.
that's sort of a urban myth. Yes, cars do get more expensive as they age to register. Also, it's a huge combination. This isn't my area of expertise because I've only ever had to register like my own car. But there's all sorts of rules. For example, the engine capacity, the size, the weight, how many passengers it can carry, all this sort of stuff determines how much tax it actually costs. But in my cars cost about $500 a year road tax, and it's not difficult to register a car. I mean, they're very picky on some things, and they couldn't care less about others. Like you can roll through with a full caged GTR with a T88 and all this ridiculous stuff on it, and they'll fail it. And they'll fail it because your brake light is tinted, or just sort of all little, or like you don't have a sticker which shows the gear pattern, sort of thing. That's why you always see like
I've always wondered why I see those on the JDM parts for like an S14. Like they all have the pattern of the shifter on there.
That's it. Yeah, so that's like a legal thing, and also like horn button. The horn has to have the horn symbol. So you'll sometimes
It's so
see.
Weird, as if people at this point like don't know where the horn is.
Oh, that's it. But it has. That's just one of those little laws, And I mean, I've taken my cars through. Like it's really obvious when a drift car is going through the registration, like the inspection station, because it's on like, the wheels are like steel wheels and they're all sunken inside the guards, and like it's all jacked up and it's missing all the like the sidebars for the roll cage have all been removed to reduce weight and all this sort of stuff.
And they'll pass.
And,
sorry, go ahead.
They'll pass it. Like, and half the time you can just sort of always talk to them, like, look, it's all right, isn't it? It's fine.
I was gonna say, how do they pass Bosuzoku cars? Like, your as long as your taillights aren't tinted, you can have an exhaust that goes 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, mostly those guys used to get their registration done by sort of shady shops that would sort of do it for cash.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing that does still exist.
Yeah.
So, right. That it does still exist here. Those sorts of places are getting cracked down on a lot, which is why often when you see the Bosuzoku guys driving around, they'll be on the temporary like slash place you might have seen with the red stripe.
With the red stripe.
Yeah, but even then, like the cops will get a bit annoyed at that because those are meant to be like transit plates or something like that. So they just don't really care. I mean, you look at the cars they're driving; they're not really too concerned about that sort of thing. But the funny thing is, they will still go out and get a temporary plate rather than drive with no plates.
So I want to move on into actual professional drifting and your true expertise, but I have so many questions that I haven't had answered.
We're going on a journey right
hold
now.
on. So let's just keep going on the journey for a little bit longer. Is it true about the Wangan like speeding on a freeway myth of like you see it in Tokyo Drift, you hear about it most of the time in like Western media? That's like if you're going over a certain speed on the freeway, speeding like an asshole, like cops won't pursue you.
It's not true. It's absolutely not
thought
true.
I thought that it was too crazy to be true, but Fast and Furious told me it's otherwise. So I believe that those movies are fact.
Okay, generally, well, look, I mean, I'm assuming most police forces around the world have a do not pursue rule. Like if a car is doing a certain thing, they'll back off. I mean, even in the States, they'll back off and rely on a helicopter.
No, not really in the States. No, they'll just kill a bunch
of
people.
They'll start shooting guns.
Okay. I mean, I know that in Australia they had for a while back when the Impreza WRX first came out that they had a do not chase rule for that car because they didn't want to cause a big accident. But the reason is because most of the cop cars, like the patrol cars here, are like, especially for the highway, are like undercover. For example, like Cedric's, little Crowns and things like that, which aren't really that fast.
Yeah.
However, I mean, they do. Of course, you might have seen pictures on the internet of those R34 GTR patrol cars and things like that.
Yep.
Like those are more. They don't actually use them for chases as such. Like they're labeled as like a pursuit vehicle. But what they do is like they'll park them on the side of the expressway during a busy period, and they'll have the radar gun. So it's like a sort of like a look, don't speed. We have this. So it's more of a
so
display.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Nice.
But I do not firsthand, but secondhand stories from friends of mine who have said, like, for example, one of them was speeding once. He was doing about 200 k's an hour, and he saw a car coming up behind him.
That's
he
like
slowed
130
down.
in American miles.
About 130, 145.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'm just translating for people. I don't know.
Thank you. And he an R32 GTR undercover cop pulled up next to him. And there were two cops in it, and they got on the microphone and they said, "We saw what you're doing, but we can't prove it. We've got your number plate. You better go home right now." And
how respectful,
how honorable.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they the way they talk on the microphone is pretty funny over here. Like they will get quite angry at you.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like an adult admonishing their child. Like I know we're not,
which it is. You shouldn't be driving 130 miles an hour, but it's nice that instead of doing what they did to me when I was driving like 30 over, which was rip me out of the car at gunpoint and smash my face into the ground, and then suspend my license for a year. That sounds like they were much nicer about it.
Well, I mean, I know we haven't got to the street drifting part yet, but I mean, that's often that's what the police in the mountains will do, where they'll roll up with, they'll turn their lights on before they show up, so they're coming, and they'll get on the microphone and basically, like they've said this when I've been there. They go, "All right, boys, it's a bit past your bedtime. Don't you all have work? Don't you all have work tomorrow? You better go off home now." That's exactly like it's like an adult admonishing their child.
Can you give us an impression and like the intonation in Japanese, what that might sound like? Because I just kind of want to hear that admonishment tone.
Well, it's sort of like "Come on, fellas, you shouldn't be out here." It's like the equivalent of that.
But can we hear it in Japanese?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Geez, I don't even know how to say it. What they said.
You could really say anything. We wouldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, we can't know. We don't know.
もう遅いでしょ、もう明日仕事早いでしょ、もう帰る方がいいよみたいに。Like that.
So you just said like, "Come on, boys, time to go home. It's past your bedtime."
Yeah, come on, boys. Okay. It's past your bedtime. Your work isn't your work really tomorrow.
Well, that sounds so cool.
Well, think about it. They probably go home and be like, "Dude, we got ripped by the cops tonight. Like they just laid
chew
into
my ass.
Us.
Like,
they chewed us
hard.
out so fucking hard."
Every single one of you guys just pull out your short blades and start seppukuing. So that's a good segue into drifting. Finally, what's the street drift scene like in Japan? How long have you been in Japan?
Okay, I moved here in the end of 2008, so I've been here about 8.5 years now.
Cool.
I came on a working holiday visa. Actually, do you want to get into that backstory?
Yeah. What took you out there?
But just keep it on your mind too. Like in a minute, I'd like to talk about what street drifting was like then and what it's like now. But yeah, let's talk about how you got there.
Okay, I'll neatly segue into that when
sweet.
we get to this. So basically, because people ask me this all the time, so this is a good time to say it all in one go. I used to work for modified car magazines back in Australia. This one called Hot Fours, which is all like, it's all like, stereos and chrome wheels sort of thing.
What we had back in 2008.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was always into, modified cars and that sort of thing. I had an RX-7 when I was 18 sort of thing. and it got to, I was helping a friend of mine's cousin one day with his show car. It was like a Hyundai Elantra wagon, like stereo.
Ooh.
Dang.
It was amazing.
Hot.
It was like the demo car for MTX Australia. And we got stuck at his house one night. We had to go back to his house to get his mobile phone batteries. This is how long ago this was. And we couldn't lock his front door. And he had a whole bunch of videos from when he'd come to Japan. He had like a street drifting video. So we started watching these videos at his house, and I was just blown away by this. Like, I didn't even know you could do this. Like,
Yeah.
It's sort of thing. So
It's funny that was real quick side note is that all the people in like in America too, like the original Drift Alliance dudes, all inspired by just street drifting videos, and that is literally what started drifting around the world. Was these kids in Japan that had started making videos of them fucking around in the streets.
Oh yeah, I think everyone almost has exactly the same story. It's pretty cool. So anyway, so I was working for these magazines, and I would come to Japan sometimes for various bits of work. And I'd also come on my own holidays, and while I was here, I'd shoot, articles, and when I go back home, I'd sell them back to the magazine, as like a freelancer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I sort of thought and I got fired from that magazine, started another magazine.
Why'd you get fired? Hold on.
Well, this particular company has sort of a history of firing the entire department in one go. And the funny thing was, they fired me while I was in Japan, and luckily when I came back, they'd fired the whole department. And I started working at a new magazine, and I sold the articles back to the old magazine under a pseudonym.
That's
So I
awesome.
thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Was
Yeah.
there a synonym Noriyaro?
No, I made up a Japanese sounding name, and I mean the editor knew who I was, but just so no one else would knew who it was. Anyway, so
That's
I
pretty
was
cool.
working
Actually,
for a new magazine. Yeah, it was fun. Like, by that time,
Was it Hachiroko Fujiwara? Was your name?
it was actually Daisuke Kajiya.
Daisuke. Kajiya.
Because my name is Alexi. It's actually Alexander, and Alexander is like the meaning of the name is like the helper of man or the protector of man or something like that.
Oh.
And Daisuke literally has the same meaning in Japanese.
Oh,
And
cool.
Kajiya means Smith in Japanese. So
It's like the most typical last name, like Smith.
well, no, it's the most common name here is Tanaka or Suzuki, which is like Tanaka is like in the middle of the rice fields. Like they took the name off where they live usually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sort of thing. So all those guys like Kawasaki is like by the river, sort of. That's what it means.
Watanabe.
Honda means like
Hot dog
I
eater.
forget exactly.
Means
All
slow.
these sorts of names.
Honda means slow and loud.
What does M Bison mean?
What is it?
M Bison?
Street Fighter reference.
You don't know this? That's meant to be Mike Tyson and
Yeah,
Paco,
because
right?
in Japan,
You know that?
bison is Vega,
I didn't know that.
and Vega is Balrog, and Balrog
That's
is
right.
Bison because it's Mike Bison.
I'll be damned.
What the fuck
Some
just
nerd
happened
facts
right now?
Got some nerd facts.
I'm
coming
sorry,
straight.
Alexi, you're not the only nerd here.
All right,
well,
let's not derail. So you blackmailed your magazine.
anyway, so
Just
anyway,
kidding.
I
Stop
was
blackmail.
working at this new magazine, and at about the same time they held auditions for the Australian version of Top Gear.
Nice.
Oh,
And yeah, so I made a audition tape because I was already sort of filming myself because I was already drifting by this time in a 180SX I had in Australia, and I sent it in, and they called me in for an interview, and apparently I was one of the top 20 shortlisted people to host the show in Australia,
Nice.
which is doing about as well as the English show is right now.
Which is well, did they call it quits because English? Are you talking about British or American?
Well, I'm talking about the current one in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Evans quit.
Yeah, that one just
USA
kicked the
USA
bucket.
just ended, and right now the British version, for those that don't know, currently has one host who is American.
What? The other two left?
Oh, Chris Evans. It was just two, wasn't it?
It was just two. Chris Evans left and Matt
Joey from
LeBlanc.
Friends.
It's
God,
still
that
there.
sounds like a bad
And
episode
then
of
the
Friends.
guy left, the British guy left. So now we literally just have Joey from Friends at this moment hosting British Top Gear. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But go on.
So
Okay.
So anyway, about this time I was 28, and Australians can get an 18-month working holiday visa to Australia. I think a lot of countries can. People from the United States can't. I think Canadians and French and Norwegian, all these sorts of places can do it. And I sort of thought, you have to be under 30 to do this. And I thought, well, I might as well do it because all I'm doing is just going to Japan every 6 months for a holiday and all I can talk about is Japan, and all my friends are like,
Little
every
jealous.
sentence
So damn
every
jealous.
sentence you say starts with, well, in Japan they blah blah blah. So I thought
You
I
sound
might
like
as
a
well
real
do it.
dickhead guy.
I was looking back. I was just like comparing everything to Japan, and so I thought, well, if I get on Top Gear, I'll do Top Gear. If I don't get on Top Gear, I'll go to Japan for a working holiday visa. And luckily for me, I'd say that I didn't get the Top Gear gig, and just moved. I sold my car. I had a Cressida daily driver and a 180SX drift car. I sold those, and just moved over here using the contacts that I'd made. A friend of mine, two friends of mine who are like a couple, and they have a house. They had a room, and I just basically rented the room and a car space and moved over here
Wow.
and bought myself a little R32 GTST, not the one I have now, a different one,
Yeah.
and I just started from there.
What city was that?
It was in Tokyo, but it was outside, about 45 minutes outside of Tokyo, in a place called Tokorozawa, which is fairly close to the Air Force base that the United States has in Tokyo.
Sounds
It was a
lovely.
good place, sort of slightly countryside,
Yeah.
very quiet. Still, I mean, even though it was like suburban, it was still very crowded. Like the space I had to work on my car had about like 6 inches on each side to move around. So
You
What was the first car you bought when you moved to Japan?
just said GTST, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Jesus.
yeah, that
Open
was
your ears, Paco.
Open your mind.
it was a pretty standard, close to standard GTST in nice condition. It looked like it was like a fake GTR looking thing. So
Nice.
But it's still great though. Is that to you? It's like, oh, GTST, whatever. But to Americans, it's like, oh, you got an R32.
Oh my God.
You got a sweet R32 for I'm sure probably what, like $5,000-$6,000 American, if you can make that conversion in your head. I don't know.
when I bought it, it was about 300,000 yen. So that's probably about, what's that? About
$3,000.
2,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, about $3,000. Yeah.
So I think it's 101 yen right now per dollar.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be worth more now. Because
Oh,
it's in
much more
fairly good
now. Yeah,
condition.
the GTR
Yeah.
tax or the Skyline tax, I should say.
So you're already living in Japan. You're established pretty much there. Where did Noriyaro came to be alive?
New episode.
New
Yeah.
episode. Where did Noriyaro
Where did
came to be
Noriyaro
alive?
like started to live?
Where did it started to
Okay.
live?
Well, before I moved over, I set it all up. I set it all up with like a little WordPress site, and I registered the name and stuff. Because the reason was, every time I shot something for a magazine, you'd end up with 50,000 other photos of just cool stuff that would never get used.
And you didn't
I
have
thought, well, I might.
you were allowed to publish that though, because that's kind of one of that's I shoot shit here for Phoenix magazines. Actually, that's what it's
Yeah.
called. But I'm not allowed to publish my own shit until many months after it's released. Like you're allowed to publish B-roll.
There were a few times where I embargoed myself for certain things, but generally no.
Yeah.
But generally, like, I kept it separate enough so that most of the stuff, it wasn't time sensitive or exclusive. Like the exclusive stuff, yeah, I'd embargo the extra stuff. But,
Yeah.
it was just like a track day, yeah.
Cool.
So back then, I think Speed Hunters had already started. Yeah, Speed Hunters had already started, and also Mike Garrett's website, Auto Otaku, was also going back then. I don't know if you know that or not. And I was I was reading that literally refreshing it every day, going, I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Japan. And I sort of kept it. I made Noriyaro for me, if I never actually moved here, like sort of that guy who either wants to go or has never been or hasn't had the the facilities to go yet. And it just it was also a good excuse just to carry the camera everywhere and document. I mean, I've always been that kind of guy. Like when I was in high school, I was filming my friends doing skateboard stuff and making all this. Like I was that dickhead at parties with the camera.
Yeah.
And
I know that guy.
I'd edit up. Yeah. So I'd edit up a VHS tape with 2 VHS decks and take it and give it to the person whose party it was like a week later, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I was always into sort of recording stuff as it happened while I was enjoying it too. Like I never really liked being like a photographer. I was like sort of being in it, and that's sort of how it sort of evolved until now. Yeah.
So I've always had that problem though. It's not to get too nerdy for the people that don't give a shit about this, but yeah, I've always had that problem though of wanting to record stuff but not being in it. Because when I would take cameras to parties and be some dude that's just taking cool photos of my friends that I would then give to them later on, I didn't know how to mix into it as well. I was always an outsider. An otaku, as you say in Nippon.
No,
Right, yes.
outsider is gajin.
What's otaku? White guy?
Otaku is a fan of
Porn?
well, like, it's like more like a fan of Japanese stuff. Am I right?
Yeah, no, gaijin. That's what I meant.
Yeah, he meant gaijin.
Otaku means like someone who's obsessive to something to the point of it almost being detrimental.
There you go.
Otaku
And
hot dogs.
Yep, that's Corey. Corey's on a hot dog otaku.
Well, it's spaghetti, to be honest.
There you go. And
Uh-huh.
well, I mean, gaijin means like it literally means like outside person. So
Yeah.
Are you a gaijin
yeah.
because you're an Australian?
Well, I'm not Japanese, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that only extends to like super Westerners because you're an Easterner by geography, but you have a Western ideal in your country, I think.
Oh, look, I mean, anyone who lives in any other country for any extended period of time can sort of adapt to the situation. Like, I mean, if I'm hanging around with Australians, like my Japanese friends will look at me with my Australian friends and go, "You're like a different person. I can't understand a word you're saying."
It's because you sound like
You know-
someone from Mad Max, and you drive your car
Well-
with spitting gasoline into your carburetors.
What a lovely day! Like, yeah.
Witness me.
Actually, funny story. The guy who was the stunt double for Nux actually used to be a drift driver in Australia, and I used to drift.
No
with him.
shit.
Nice.
That is
There
a
you go.
sweet little factoid.
Just gonna drop names everywhere I can.
Yeah,
Speaking
please
of dropping
do.
names,
All right, so
speaking of dropping names,
so we don't get stuck.
continuing.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
I was gonna say so we don't
We'll
get.
go.
Oops. Hey. Oh.
You've heard some of our episodes. You know, Sam has a pretty big tendency to
To
interrupt.
try to get the show to keep moving forward and not just get stuck in talking about
Sorry.
stunt drivers for Mad Max. So yeah, what I was trying to do is to keep the show on rails, which is now going to your drift career is now starting in Japan, and where is that taking you?
Okay, so I was like being the typical, white guy in Japan, just sort of having fun. I'm only going to be here for a year, so I might as well just have lots of fun, do lots of fun stuff. And I was, doing stuff for the website. I was having fun, and I got a call one day, like an email from Rod Chong, who was the editor of Speed Hunters back then.
Yep.
Sort of saying, we're looking
Rod
for a
Chong?
guy. Rod Chong.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're looking for a guy to do
Hi,
stuff
Rod.
in Japan. Can you cover some stuff? We've got JR coming over, Bongitten Jr. coming over,
Never heard of
doing this this Mustang in Japan. You see, I'm Mustang on your territory here now, Sam. Yeah. And he did this thing where he brought over these two Mustangs and sort of did a tour. I'm not sure if the videos still exist on YouTube or not.
I want to see it if it does.
Well, it's just like Mustang in Japan. If you search for that, it should
Yeah.
come up.
What year is
So
it?
what I did was, this is like 2009, early
Nice.
2009.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
So back then I had like long blonde hair, like bleached hair. It was horrible. And
Blunder years.
just reminding me what I look like. Actually, if you go onto Speed Hunters and you search for like JR in Japan, like my article will come up.
Nice.
I followed him around
Cool.
for a few days, and that was pretty cool. And then they sort of said, "Oh, do you want to work for Speed Hunters?" And I was sort of being a bit of a dickhead and not taking it seriously. I'm like, yeah, sure, and ended up working with them.
Oh, you wiener.
Yeah. So
That
I
was-
mean, it could have been good.
Man, that was like my goal at the time. Was like, oh man, all I want to do is be a cool Speed Hunters guy, and you turned him down because you're too cool.
That's the that's the coolest thing you could do.
I guess.
Like think about it,
I guess that's cool.
I could have shot for Speed Hunters, but
Don't get it wrong. I didn't. By no means did I turn them down. Rod sort of politely said, "You're not being professional enough for us."
Oh,
And
no
I was
shit.
sort of, I was
probably
sort of told him
smoking
what I thought.
cigarettes and riding motorcycles on the beach with topless women on the back.
Yeah, I'll take the job.
So I mean, I told him very politely what I thought of him, and that was the end of that.
Okay.
Oh yes, I like. I love
Yeah,
this.
I mean, we've made our peace since then. I met him again when he came over to when JR came to D1 Grand Prix recently in Diver. I helped out JR, and he was there, and Rod was there too,
Nice.
sorting out that sort of thing. So yeah, that was pretty good. So so I just until now it's just been a slow progression of the same sort of thing, just going to drift days and shooting articles, and I was selling them to magazines and all sorts of random work here to keep me going. And I bought other cars. I bought a JZX 100 Mark II, which I've still got, and it's going to come back eventually. and sort of started to make videos, because what I'd do was I'd shoot articles and shoot like action sequences, and I'd just bolt a camera to the top of my SLR, or like attached to the side somehow. So that's why in some videos you can hear the clicking sound of the shutter, which is kind of funny.
Get mirrorless, bro. Come on.
So all the first YouTube videos I put up were mostly sort of offcuts of just random stuff I saw, and now it's sort of evolved into the now currently popular, Casey Neistat style thing, where you're holding the camera in front of your face and talking about stuff and showing cool stuff, and that's sort of the idea of what the channel is now. Is I'll go to see some interesting stuff and sort of bring everyone along to have a look, because there's just so much, like there's more here than you can possibly cover. Like it's amazing.
It's like you suddenly became you became like the outlet for everything going on in Japan for the English speaking audience. So everybody, I mean, I'm sure everybody in Australia, New Zealand, they're all checking you out. But here in the United States, like Noriyaro became a thing. It's like, oh, dude, you saw Noriyaro's last video. He's in Ebisu. Oh, Noriyaro is at this other track and he's posting videos. And
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, because Sam lives off the...
I'm an indoor cat.
Yeah, he's an indoor car. He lives off the grid. But
that's a joke.
Yeah, so
sorry.
You became like this media outlet about Japan that everybody in the world understands. And
well, I think that the biggest reason for that is because I started putting my face on the actual video, which I tried to avoid for the longest time, because I never wanted to make the article about me. Like I always wanted to show other people, like, look at this sort of stuff, look at this sort of stuff. And people for the longest time were looking at my stuff, but it was just like they'd write me emails and say, oh, hey, you guys. It's like, no, it's just me.
Yeah,
and
I still get that every day.
Right, yeah. And I mean, putting my face on the camera has been a good thing, because it gives people something to sort of attach to. And and on the other hand, it means that when I go to a track now, like I get like Japanese guys going, oh, you're Alexi, oh, come and look at this. So when people know who, especially for media, anyone who wants to be having anything to do with media, if the people know who you are, then it makes it so much easier to say, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, if you're not, especially if there's no money involved, like you're not paying them or anything.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of right now. That's the format I'm working with, and I'm at home editing the video of the Dodge van racing that I went to a couple of weeks ago.
Dodge van.
And that should be up.
Did you know that Paco drives a van?
Oh, does that mean I have to drink this aside?
Kampai! Kampai!
Now I have to adjust those audio levels.
What are you drinking, by the way?
It's only midday here, but I went down to the convenience store and bought a Asahi.
Extra dry.
Extra. It's a super dry, extra sharp. Like a new one they have out for summer. It's quite nice.
All right, more Japan facts. Is it true that most people only drink cold sake there? Hot sake is kind of an Americanized shit sake wintertime thing.
No, it depends on the time of year. Like they're very big. Like a funny thing is, like, you come to Japan, they say like, oh, Japan's like one of the only countries with 4 actual seasons. Like, this is sort of a joke of people who live here, and apparently people in Korea say the same thing, and all sorts of other countries say the same thing. But But on the other side of that, they are very conscious of seasons. So, there's a lot of food that it's only available now, or like you only eat this stuff now. So yeah, hot sake does have its time in winter and stuff like that. But it's not. I mean, a lot of stuff that gets taken over to America does get, well, not to the West. Do not be too specific. Gets bastardized a bit, like California and stuff.
America will ruin everything.
But that's a two-way street though, because you see like the Elvis impersonators and like the California girls. There's a name for all that stuff that I'm sure you can tell me. But like the California style Japanese girls out there, and like Elvis style, and Michael
I think the Japanese
style.
Elvis are the best Elvis ever.
Oh, for sure.
It gets bastardized across both streets though.
Well, one of the best things about the people over here who do that is they never ever half-ass it. Ever.
Yeah,
like they
100%.
Go full out. Like I was driving down in Osaka one time on an expressway there, and I saw this. It was like a '64 Impala. Like it looked like the one that was it Ice Cube had in
How High Friday?
Boys in the Hood.
Boys
in the Hood.
like that, yeah, like that sort of thing. And it was bouncing along on its little Dayton wheels.
Hell
And
yeah.
had these two dudes sitting at shaved head, white, wife beaters
What?
on.
No
And-
pompadour?
No, but
Ice Cube never had that.
they were Mexican.
Full
Like,
cholo.
But they were
Yeah.
no, but they were Japanese. But I drove past and they had the little, like the little moustache and everything.
No
Like,
Lokes on.
You should when you pass them, you should yell at him like, "Eh, pendejo!"
Oh, God.
And like, "Pinche cholo."
my jaw was hanging too low to even say anything. I was like, these guys have it perfect. Like, it
That's
was amazing.
awesome.
So
But see, like, that's the thing. Like, that's one of the awesome things about Japan. You get to see that stuff, and they are committed.
Yeah. And they're living it. They're not just like pretending to be it. They are it.
yeah.
They're living it hard.
yeah.
They shot a couple
I-
of fucking white guys that night. They're trying to
I
Through
always,
rocks.
they're trying to get a wall
I
built.
do sort of think that about Japan a lot is if you're into the car culture, they do import pretty much every car culture from around the world here.
Talk about
So,
culture appropriation.
well,
Nailed it.
appropriate.
Nailed
Well,
it.
there is that. But you do sort of get exposed to a lot of cool stuff that you'd otherwise wouldn't see unless you went all around the world. So yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get back into
back
your life.
back into the drifting thing. So
But you,
Yeah.
I understand that you got into announcing. How did that occur?
thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, I'm announcing like literally every series there is here.
Yep.
For the English-speaking audience.
For the English
Exactly.
speaking audience. At Ebisu Circuit, there's an event, 3 events a year called the Drift Mat Series, which you may have heard of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And because so many foreigners come, mostly Australians, come to that event, we started to have on the Friday before the weekend event a G1 Grand Prix. G standing for Gaijin.
Yeah, we were watching your live stream.
Oh right, okay.
Oh yeah, it was so cool.
So we started doing that, and I was still driving in it, like at the beginning, and also translating the drivers' meeting and all that sort of stuff. And it got to the point where I thought, well, I might as well just do this the whole time, because there was one time I didn't have a car, and I worked the event, and Kumakubo he paid me for it. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing this now. So I started doing that every time.
Mm-hmm.
And when they wanted to do the Formula Drift live stream last year, I think it was last year at Okayama, the guy who runs the Formula D Japan was asking people, oh, do you have anyone who could do the announcing? And they said, oh, just get Alexi.
Yeah, because Jared was being doy, and he didn't want to go to Japan because he's been there so many times.
Is that true, or is it because he had another contractual obligation?
He had a contractual obligation.
Okay. All right. Let's just make it clear that Jared probably was announcing GRC. Or
He was doing GRC here in Phoenix, as far as I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
While you were doing his job in Japan, is that right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to Ryan Sage.
Right
doing
now?
Not right now.
Is he
no, but
listening to
Hello,
every-
Ryan.
Is he listening to every word you're saying and giving you a thumbs up or thumbs down?
it's more of a scowl than a. Yeah.
So, anyway,
So
yep.
I'm like I do the color commentary for the FD rounds now. I also do the live stream for D1 Grand Prix.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. They rig it so that the left audio channel is Japanese, the right audio channel is
Whoa.
English. So,
Did you say
Really,
that D1 is rigged?
Yeah, he said D1 rigged it.
Wow. Okay. You're blowing my mind right now.
you're gonna edit me now. That was like 2 weekends ago. Was the scuba circuit round, and last weekend was the King of Nations or King of Asia event at Ebisu Circuit, which I also did the commentary for. It wasn't a live stream as such, but it was just being the live commentator. And there's also next weekend is the second round of that, the Japan round at the Nikko Circuit. So yeah, very busy these days with the announcing, even though I'm an absolute amateur and but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think I'm just relying on the fact that I actually, I know the drivers and I sort of know roughly what's going on to fake my way through it.
Yeah, well, that's humble of you to say so that you that you still are not a pro at it because yeah, that's cool though. That's a tough gig to do. I was sitting in a hotel pool with Jared Deanda, like on one of our jobs recently, and I was like, yeah, dude, I could fucking announce. I could do your job. And he's like, all right, announce right now. Like, who's coming up? Like, what's happening? And then I tried, and I was like, oh god, this is hard. Because it's easy to hate on the announcer because it's like, oh, they messed up one point, like they forgot one sponsor. Like, what dickheads?
They
suck. But then you realize, like, to just throw everything off the top of your head without saying without saying without pausing while getting everything correct. Announcing is hard fucking work, and I think it's one of those thankless jobs that if they do a perfect job, it's like, all right, the announcer was here, I didn't notice him. And if they do a shitty job, they are the worst. Like you're either not noticed or you are completely ridiculed. Like no one is ever going to be like, great announcing today.
Wow, that was great.
Well, I mean, I have I've been very lucky that I guess it hasn't been too stressful so far. I haven't been really given much in the way of like briefs, like, oh, you have to say, apart from like the, what's this on Network 8? Like I've been fairly free to do what I wanted so far.
Can you leave your friends
like
behind? Because if friends don't dance and everyone dances, are they no friends of yours?
That's a safety dance reference.
Safety dance. I'm doing the safety dance. Remember how everyone brings up how I interrupt people? This isn't that time.
Exactly.
Sorry. Go on.
Okay. And well, I mean, like you said, yeah, all the ums and ahs. Like I go back and watch the first round I did at Okayama, and I was like, oh, geez, I'm horrible. But that's part of it, I think, especially like with the video editing now, is watching yourself and seeing. Oh, I keep saying. Well, I keep saying at the start of every single cut, I'm going, well, it's horrible. So I'm sort of unlearning all that sort of stuff. And I've also been fairly lucky to get a lot of positive feedback from a lot of people saying, I really enjoyed your commentary today, or like you explain stuff. And so, I mean, I always try and explain stuff because, we've seen from recent events that a lot of people really don't understand. They like to watch drifting, but they might not necessarily understand exactly what's going on.
Right.
And as a result, get the. I do my best to try and. What's the best way to put it? If something happens on the track, I'll usually try and give like two opposing viewpoints of what.
Yeah, play devil's advocate and see what you think because you're in the know, and then also be like, well, you fans might be thinking that. It looked like this driver completely fucked up, but in fact, he may not have.
No questions here.
But yeah, so you mentioned an incident that may have occurred in recent drifting. What is your take on said incident? Which is, of course, are you referencing Formula Drift New Jersey?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what is your take on that? So let's preface this, is that I think one of the big problems that I've found in the commentary of this incident is everyone's like, fuck Formula Drift, let's go to D1. Like, we should bring D1 back. I'm not asking you to choose sides on who's who and what's better. I'm just saying, like, everyone just thinks that everything would be different in D1.
Okay. I'll say D1. Okay. Let's see. Let's start again.
Yeah, that's a multi-sided question.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you heard our last episode last week? We were talking about D1. And
I did.
Okay.
I'll have to edit this part out. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, the best part of this question is I'm getting a paycheck from everybody, so it's. I guess.
Yeah, you can fuck yourself on multiple angles. So be as PC as you wish, and if after the show you say, "Hey, I hate that part," we'll cut it out. But do what you got to do.
All of the competitions have their ups and downs, obviously, and they're all of this is me being very vague in my answer right now, but they all have so many aspects like culture, who's driving, what people think is cool, all that sort of stuff. To be honest, they're not really all that different from what I've seen.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
Right?
I mean, the driving level these days, like, let's see, the top 8 people in Formula Drift in the United States and in Japan, say, would do very well in a competition against each other. I think
Set it up.
The cars, the drivers. Yeah, I would love to see that. No, I would love to see that. It's amazing.
We see it in Formula Drift Japan.
Kind of. I mean, we don't have.
In D1, you got Yokoya and Daigo.
Yeah, but they're Japanese guys. What I would love to see is D1's best versus Formula Drift's best. and just 8 Americans maybe. They don't have to be Americans, but
I just saw that in Formula Drift Japan. You have Aspo.
Yeah, but
You
we
have,
didn't bring.
Wasn't Forrest?
Forrest was.
Yeah, Matt Field ran out
Field
there.
was
Dean
there.
Kearney ran out there.
Yeah.
Robbie Nishida ran out there.
But if we can get Vaughn, if we could get Forsberg, if we could get Odie, if we could get
Odie ran out there.
Yes.
Odie
Yeah,
did
yeah,
run,
yeah.
But I would love to see an actual USA versus Japan drifters.
Like literally, like U.S. team.
But you
like
know
the
that
top
that would-
6 versus top 6.
if FD New Jersey decided anything, that would break the internet because some call would be made where a Japanese guy is doing too much style, and
Let's-
then Vaughn runs him over or something.
Let's bring judges from both sides. The judges from FD
yeah, I
and
guess
judges
that's
from
true.
D1.
That's the way to coordinate it.
You
Is
know,
to
yeah.
have-
Well, okay. Let's break this down because
Yeah.
Yes.
it's interesting. All the stuff you're saying is very interesting. And okay, so from what I've seen, okay, right now D1 is very, very, very biased towards speed, which in my
which
opinion
direction?
is in fast.
Yeah.
Bias
Like-
towards is, and they want more speed.
Yes. Yep.
Yes,
Which
speed
everyone
is.
everyone hating on FD is saying that they're too
Exactly.
speed conscious. They're saying that it's Formula NASCAR, and they're saying that
No.
FD is too speed conscious. But you're saying right now on the record that D1 is being criticized for having too much speed conscientious
Or wanting
No, no,
more
no.
speed.
I'm not,
more.
no. I'm not saying it's been criticized at all. I'm saying it is just that's how it is. That's how it
Yeah.
is in Japan.
Okay.
Or, like to pretty much any Japanese drift driver you speak to, speed is the number one most important thing. It's the coolest thing.
So
Like that's what
You're
everything
breaking. Hold
comes
on,
from.
you're breaking people's minds.
Oh
right
my
now.
God, you're
Okay.
hurting people all across the
gotta
United
do-
States.
Here-
I
Alex.
know. Well, it's got to happen. And
guys, you
and-
heard it. You heard it first, right here.
From one of the announcers of
from
D1.
Noriyaro himself.
That's-
No, we're not making this shit up.
Yeah.
We're not just like,
I wish we were
Maximum
like that.
Driftcast
Yeah.
is on Formula Drift's paycheck.
No, but he just said that D1 is caring about speed, whereas
Yes.
whereas one of the major arguments in this Forrest versus Forsberg thing is that D1's so much cooler. They care about angle and style.
Because
much
they're
more
slow
than-
as fuck.
Yeah, so they're slow as fuck, and they only care about his angle and style. And it doesn't matter if you're fast, but you're saying that that's judging is now based off of speed as well.
But here's the thing though. The judging in D1 Grand Prix is not done by human judges. It's done by the boss judging, like the computerized GPS judging.
Boss senpai.
Uh-huh.
Now, DOS Senpai. They do have one. They do have one human judge who's there to basically look at car contact or people going off course, and he has a very sort of a strong but minor role in the whole thing. And the current situation in Japan, the judging with D1 Grand Prix is everybody thinks that the DOS system itself is a good system because it reads the entire run from start to finish very accurately, and there's no way to sort of get away or hide behind smoke or anything like that.
So real quick before you
What-
continue, I hate to interrupt as I do, but I want to know what the system is. Does it judge angle? Is there an
GPS
onboard
based?
GPS? How does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's some technical guys there who install, it's one of those V-Box drift box things that does that drifting measuring system that's
Yeah.
out of the UK. They install that onto the car with a antenna. It's all installed by like their staff. Each of the cars has to provide a mounting point and all that sort of stuff.
So
And
the
it's
car
all-
builders don't get to fuck with it. It's all done with indiscretion by the
Correct.
actual governing body. Okay.
Yeah, there's it's the DOS staff. It's like this two guys and these two young guys. They come from a technical college, like a motorsport technical college.
Yeah.
So that's how it's installed. So yeah, no messing with it by the drivers.
Good.
And it just runs off a GPS system which feeds back to a central computer, which then has the software which determines the scores. And the way it determines the scores is the course is set up into sectors, sector 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it gives you a score out of 100. Each of the sectors is like 20 points, 30 points, 30 points, or 5 points, whatever. And each of those, it's getting very complicated. Each of those parts has a different weighting. Like, for example, this part of the course is where they take top speed from. This part of the course, they're measuring average angle. This part of the course is, so that sort of stuff. So they do break it down very cleanly for the drivers in the drivers briefing. I have the paperwork and I try and explain it on the live broadcast. And the downside of that system, from what I've seen, is the software, like the criteria that the software has, might not be quite perfect yet. Because sometimes you do see guys who, like for example, if one guy follows another guy door to absolute door, like Igo does, for example, a lot of the time,
Yeah.
the following car will generally win. However, if the following car, this is what I've seen so far, if the following car is about maybe 3 car lengths back, but is still has the same speed, line, and angle as the car in front, you will probably get an even score, if not better, for the following car, which is kind of odd. Whereas a guy who is maybe 1 car length away, but is kind of wavering in his angle, is kind of accelerating, decelerating, trying to keep a good drift,
Yeah.
they often get penalized by this system, which
Because
is kind of odd.
They have a variation in their angle, speed, and style. They're not consistent.
Exactly. So that's sort of the weak point of that system. So it's good because it's consistent.
But
It's bad because
doesn't that weigh in towards consistency though? Because that if you're 3 car lengths back and consistent, and this is still devil's advocate, I might not agree with it, but if you're 3 car lengths back and drifting the same way, that just means that maybe you have a slower car or you have you initiated slower. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
it can be any one of those things.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's ways in which the system can be, like, the judging system doesn't work sometimes. I'd say it worked 90% of the time. I'd say at the last scuba circuit there was one call that was a bit like, really, and there was another one where it was a bit like, yeah, all right. I mean, but the rest of them on average were pretty good. So overall as a system, it's good. So it's good for the crowd. It's good for everybody except the drivers. Right?
Huh.
Now going to the other end of this, where you have only human judges. Like I don't think any D1 driver would like to. I mean, they would like to return to human judges, maybe if they could get like Keiichi Tsuchiya back, but there's no way he'd ever come back to D1 now.
Oh wow.
Why do you say that?
Various disagreements with Tsuchiya and D1 staff. So
I know nothing about it, but I know that Japanese drifting is important to Americans. Why would you say, if you can divulge, why the Drift King is no longer wanting to be affiliated with?
Well, just Tsuchiya's like, I think we should do this, and D1 was like, I think we should do that. And Tsuchiya's like, okay, fair enough, good luck. I'll take my ball and go home.
Okay.
He's got his own. Well, he has his own drifting series now, which, funnily enough, speed is even more important in that. Like, he will penalize you for a lack of speed more than anything else, and not so much even speed. It's like he really seems to like it when people like hold the accelerator down for a long time. Like when people back off a lot, he's like, nah, he's backing off a lot.
Which is just like FD, because they favor, and they have favored over the years, of accelerator speed and noise. Like a lot of guys I know hold their clutch in just to keep noise up. Like even if they're not on throttle, you know, they'll hold the clutch in just to keep the noise, keep the throttle pinned.
Yeah, well, I think that's I think that's a good thing. I've sort of I do that sometimes. You know, if I'm doing like a manji or something, I have to hold in the clutch. I'll just flip the accelerator or whatever. I think it's if it has to sound fast and look fast, doesn't it? So so moving on to Formula D. I mean, I sit up next to Ryan Lantane and Andy and whoever. Did you drop your knife?
Yeah,
How
exactly
can you
what
tell?
Corey just dropped his sword.
Hey,
His sword.
But Alexi, hey,
I know
Katana.
I had a quick question for you before we move on to FD real quick, talking about that drift box. How well would you say that box scores the driver compared to visually scoring the driver? Like if that box rated a guy at like a 95 run, would it visually look like a 95 run?
Sometimes I would say sometimes it's even a bit too fair. Like, it's sort of like how do you say it? Like a logarithmic scale where guys who do really well sometimes get like over the maximum score. Like they'll go faster than they should, or they'll have even more angle than is required in that area. So so guys can get 100. I mean, considering that in previous years, you sort of see the scores in D1 for qualifying are generally between about like 97 and 100, right?
Right. Yep.
And this system is generally scoring within that sort of area. So it's being, I think that considering how it's done, I think they did a really, really good job. It's just getting it a bit more fine-tuned, I think, is the trick.
Is what I was mentioning on the previous episode. It seemed like everybody was getting over 90 points on qualifying. Like it doesn't matter, like pretty much everybody was getting good scores.
I mean, it's been like that in D1 since day one. Like guys have been getting like 98.5, 98.8, and that sort of stuff for a long time. I don't know why they do that, but it's just sort of been the way it's been. So they have been keeping consistent with that system.
Okay. How is the base criteria established as for like what is a good run? How does the program determine what's
that I do not know. They do have meetings at the beginning of each year in D1 season for these sorts of meetings. You know, like where they have big technical meetings, or all the license holders come along and all the sponsors come along and they sort of discuss stuff and they tell them, okay, it's going to be like this and this, and they have all those sorts of discussions. So, short answer, I'm not exactly sure. But that is something I should find out, to be honest, because I should be able to explain that.
Yeah, you should. And I'm pretty pissed off that you don't know how.
Yeah, thanks, Alexi.
Good night.
Sorry.
I mean, good day, whatever it is for you there.
Well, the every time I see those guys, it's always at the actual, like the DOS guys, it's at the actual event, and I get the feeling they don't really want to talk about it too much. Like because I don't know, maybe they're worried about people gaming it, or I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I will do my best to find out, have a bit of a chat to the guy when I see him next time.
So going into FD, obviously you have two different judging styles. You have the 3 judges, and then you have this drift box
and robot judge.
And robot judges.
It's called DOS system. I think it's like drift something. I don't know what it stands for.
So rolling to FD, comparing the two, what style of judging do you like more after watching both of them?
Well, as a driver myself, I always do like having human judge. I mean, I'd like having human judges. Mostly because, I mean, the way it works here too, in just regular drift competitions too, is all judges have different styles of judging, and the thing is, they do make it very obvious to what their style is.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I did a competition one weekend at the circuit here called Honjo, and it was judged by, I think it was judged by Keiichi Tsuchiya. It was like a drift muscle or something like that. And then the next weekend I did another competition, and it was judged by Yoichi Imamura, who currently drives that LFA. Yep. And pretty much everyone was all ready from last weekend. He said, okay, today you got to do this, 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 and it was almost completely different line to the previous weekend. So everyone was like, oh god damn it, we've got to practice another line now. But the thing is, nobody here really has that attitude of, well, I'm going to just drift my way and win that way. I mean, no, sorry, let me correct that. Okay. Daigo Saito has, and what's his name? Naoki Nakamura definitely have that style where they're just like, I'm going to drift my way and I'm going to win. But the thing is that they're at such a level where they can do that. But guys who are still, in the middle of the field sort of thing will never go out there thinking like, oh, I'm just going to drift the way I want and win. They always listen to exactly what the judges have to say and pretty much never argue on anything other than sort of other minor technical things, really, from what I've seen. I mean, obviously in their heads though, it's the same sort of, the same sort of conversation is going on as in what I've seen in overseas briefings where everyone's like, oh, this is bullshit, why that, blah blah blah. But here it's more of a case of you just do what they say because that's how it is, and usually because the judges are like, it is Yoichi Imamura, it is Keiichi Tsuchiya, they are guys like that.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I mentioned something about that on last episode, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like in Japan there's quite a lot of respect for like the elder judge, where it's like, oh well, he thinks I'm wrong, I guess I am wrong, and I'll take it. Is that really a thing? Like where is it like an honor system?
Well, okay. I'll say what I can.
Your opinion is fine.
Japan still has that. It has that like the senpai kohai thing. It sounds like a bit of an internet trope, but it does exist. Anyone who's older than you, like this is why it's you do often see people in Japan say, "Oh, how old are you?" Like you'd never really ask someone that in our country.
Oh, really?
Well, but the reason is because they want to know: are you older than me, or do I have to be respectful to you?
Well, age doesn't automatically mean wisdom in the Western countries.
That's right. Yeah, but it's generally a sort of a base that they use here. So, if drivers who have been around for a long time, a lot of these guys they've seen everything that, I mean, all the current, crop of drift drivers, anything that they've done, these guys have probably seen 2 or 3 times before.
Yeah.
They were street drifting from when they were 18. They've done all the competitions. They know everybody. They've done so much. So there's you don't really have a foot to stand on if you want to say. They say, "Oh, you're a bit slow there." You go, "No, I'm not." Well, it's like, well, yeah, you are. Like, there's not really much you can say to them.
Right.
I mean, and the thing is, like, if you beat them, like now, like people call Daigo like Daigo Sensei. They call him because he's won D1, he's won FD, he's won everything. So, and he builds awesome cars, and he has his own business. So it is
the
possible
money in
to
the
sort of,
world.
I mean, it's kind of possible to jump up levels, but you really, really have to earn it. I remember when I first got here, and I'd already been drifting for like, I don't know what, like a fair while, and people would say, "Oh, how long have you been drifting for?" I'm like, like 5 years or whatever it was, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah." Whereas back in Australia, I was like super OG.
Yeah.
So and it was
doing,
kind of
they've been doing tofu runs up their mountain for decades.
Exactly. So it you can't really avoid that system. I mean, the only way. Also, I've noticed that the one cool thing is that when foreign drivers come over, especially like JR and when Matt Field and those sorts of guys come over, they do automatically get a lot of respect, which is I think quite cool. Like they don't.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Like they know who they are, and they the Japanese guy goes, "Oh, okay, this guy is respected overseas, so I've got to respect him as well." Which is I mean, it works both ways, yeah, for sure.
Because also they show up with their crazy ass builds, which I think that JR's build, is super highly technical. It's like a NASCAR. Everything has been finely detailed, finely tuned. Everything exists for a reason. And Matt Field almost is the exact opposite.
The
Matt
same
Field's
car from 5 years ago.
No, I mean, yeah, it's the same chassis, but Matt Field's car is the most metal thing out there. Like, I love Matt Field's car because it is just fucking hardcore, and he's almost the anti-Vaughn car. Not saying that it's less. It is definitely less engineered.
But it's the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, let's get it as crazy as we can be, and Vaughn is as dialed as it can be, and both theories are working this year, which is pretty cool to watch. And it's cool to see. I'm wondering how that's interpreted in the super hardcore Japanese drift culture that can actually see that difference. And that do you have S14s like Matt Fields in Japan?
Oh, like with V8s and stuff in them? No,
I don't mean just V8s. I just mean V8 supercharged, super high strung, like just on the limit incredibly. I feel like Matt Field's car is like a knife edge. I think that car is insane.
You do get some guys here with like the firecracker cars. I mean, obviously, again, Daigo Saito, he has his spare engine on its own little stand.
Yeah, ready to go. Frederick Cosmo style.
Right. Yeah. But but I think the attitude here is more of a case of, like, I remember, I think it was even on a video that got translated in the States where Yokoi always says he likes to build his engines like a tank. Like he builds his cars so they're sort of unbreakable.
Yeah.
Like they don't tend to do the firecracker sort of thing here as much as they might in the States, I think.
I don't think any of these guys' engines have died out this year, honestly. I just mean in driving style, like, and the precision of the builds. Because, Matt Field's car is built with a garage full of buddies that just throw as much power into the car as they can. When we talked to Matt Field on this show, he was doing wiring for his own car. And Vaughn has, I'm sure thankfully in his own mind, gotten to a point where he can take a step back and hire just the best in the biz to make the most capable car with years and years of research. Like, it's just weird to see, I think, in my opinion, two cars that one is just engineered to the highest and another one is just garage built to the highest, but with the most... I don't want to say that one car is lacking passion, one is not, but there's very different builds, I think, and both...
No, I totally get what you mean, and you do get the same thing here. Like for example, the guy who won the scuba circuit round, this guy called Murayama. Like, it's just same sort of thing. It's his personal car. He maintains it in a garage that he built next to his house. It gets tuned by the local tuning shop. Yep. So you do get that sort of same level thing. On the other hand, you get like the Kawabata Trust GTR, which is it turns up to each round looking brand new. Like, and looking perfect. So everything about that car is like perfect, everything perfect. So you do get sort of the, both. However, pretty much every single person who looked at JR's car when he brought it for a diver was like, wow, I can't believe how clean and perfect that thing is. So all the D1 guys, so they all think of especially his car is quite amazing. Like on the whole, they're quite amazed at the amount of time and money and effort that he's put into all the builds over in the States.
Yeah, and then the big thing you can see there is just that this car is built in the heart of NASCAR in America. So you can see that his car and ASD and those other dudes have kind of brought this, I don't want to say professionalism because there's been professionals before that, but just this cleanliness to design that I think is critical. Yeah. Do you see that in Japan with some home builds? Do you see dudes, because Japanese design I think is mostly utilitarian and very clean in a lot of ways. Do you see that in private builds there?
You do see, for example, there's a little trend going around recently of the whole shaved engine bay thing for like AE86s.
Yeah.
Where they make it all beautiful and stuff like that. But for you're right that drift cars here they're not really seen as like a work of art. Like, especially when the biggest indicator is when you look at the difference in style of welding.
Yeah.
With overseas, like you get like hashtag weld porn, on Instagram and stuff. It's all like,
yeah.
Whereas not really anyone here cares about that sort of stuff. Like they don't. It fits. It passes spec. Yep, no worries. Like that's sort of the way it is for when they're building cars. Like because so many guys here, like every one person has to do like 5 different jobs. You don't tend to get like the specialized as much of a specialization as you do for the higher end guys in the States. I mean, I hung around with the guys from JR's team because they're all like Kiwis and Australians too, so I got along with them quite well.
Yep, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, one question I have on Alexi is, it's funny because the U.S. drift culture really fanboys out over like the old school traditional Japanese styling drift car. And, I'm just kind of curious to think what the Japanese think of the American drift scene car style, like the Formula D style. Big power, obviously, built for one reason. How do the Japanese drift community take our style of builds? Our American most enthusiasts out here dislike it.
Sure. All right, well, let's talk about more controversial stuff. Remember the Mad Mike, what was it? Not too pretty thing. What was it?
Yeah,
the entry.
Yep. Entry in Atlanta.
Yep.
Not the prettiest. Yeah. I mean, a little while ago I was going through Facebook and a Japanese drifter posted that video, and the comments he wrote was sort of more like along the lines of, man, look at the way they drive cars over in the States. Like they sort of yank the handbrake and they kind of wobble through the corner, and he was basically saying
he was reinforcing Jared's. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, he was basically saying exactly the same thing as Jared was. And there are quite a few things here that people are picky about, that they're by no means, well, but not as picky in the States. Like, for example, the whole holding angle through a corner. It like when you often see it on the banks corners on the like the banks in the States, where you get a guy who'll get up on the bank, and kind of the car won't hold the same angle. It'll kind of tweak.
Yeah.
And in Japan they call that kaku kaku. It's like the sound of like something like imagine a door.
That's so funny. I'm picturing a steering knuckle. I'm just picturing, as you say, kaku kaku. I'm picturing like a steering knuckle just kind of like just shifting from side to side. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what that's like a onomatopoeia for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they're really picky about that sort of thing. Like, so that anyone who did that sort of thing would be picked on really heavily in Japan.
Yeah.
So there's just stuff like that. Also, like cars, like when they flick from left to right. Obviously that's looked at well in the States as well. But they're much more picky about that sort of thing, where a car goes from like full angle, like angle from one side to angle the other side. Yeah, like lock really, really strongly and quickly. Like they're big on that. So there's a lot of judging points here that I think that, for example, if an American guy came to Japan, he'd have to sort of change the way he thought. And on the other hand, too, guys who would go from that's why I think that some guys who went from Japan to Formula D just absolutely bombed, because they didn't realize that the style of drifting was slightly different, and they'd have to change their very well ingrained style.
And is it true that you guys don't run inner clips that often?
Actually, like tagging a clip. I think that's sort of a thing that come out of making it obvious to people what the criteria is. And I guess, I mean, most drivers out there know that they have to, hit a clip. But I mean, this is just my interpretation of that, is that for the crowd, go, oh, he was really close to that, everyone else, they go, oh, he was really close, that's why he got that. Yeah, usually they'll say to people here, like, oh, you just go like a meter off the corner is fine, like a meter off the zebra strip. So they don't tend to run like clips. Like clips are less important than line, which is like, I guess clips are less important than line, which is less important than other things as well. So.
But I mean, clips determine the line, though. I mean, that your line is.
Well, that's it.
I guess it's the other way around.
Yeah,
line is determined by clips. But
yeah.
So outside of the U.S. driving style, what do you guys think of the car styling in Formula D and the function of it?
Well, what do I think of it, or
what is the culture, the Japanese drift culture thing?
Okay. Well,
because the only reason I asked that too, is because a lot of the fans of FD here say the cars are too high or they're too fast or built for drag racing.
You have no style.
Yeah, so just looking at obviously the originators or the creators of style and drifting and things like that, is just kind of seeing what their thoughts are on the U.S. versions of styling and built for function.
It's not really that different, to be honest, as far as the pro guys go, because they all know that they have to have grip. They all know they have to have travel. They all know that it's the same. And I don't know, maybe they do a better job of hiding the fact that their cars are high, but it's not too far off. Like, for example, I do know for a fact that Daigo Saito was running about 10 psi in his rear tires at the last circuit round. Like so they're doing a similar sort of trying to get the car to grip, trying to do the corner jacking thing, getting the car to sit up on three wheels to get maximum amount of grip. Like it's not really that different, to be honest. Maybe because the cars are driving really on some of these courses really fast that it's not that obvious, but I don't think that any high level drift driver here would not look at something that makes their car drive better and go, no, I'm not doing that because I want to be slammed. Like none of them will do that. Not anymore. The guys who were like that have kind of gone like, oh well, I'm just going to do my own thing. Which that's the thing. They just go like, well, it's not for me. I'm just going to do my own thing instead of making a big thing about it.
Well, you have that dude Nakamura out there who's like the style king, considering what the dudes in the U.S. think. But didn't he just put a 1J or a 2J in his car recently? I
believe that he put a 1J in one of his cars in order to drive at the what's it called, the King of Nations round. Mm-hmm. But the last round he did at Ebisu, he did have an SR20. I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't get that car. I know that car was put together by my mate Shane down in Osaka.
Oh, nice.
So I should probably ask him, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be out for Nico next week. I'm not too sure. But I mean, then again, Nakamura is one of those special cases where he's just such a freak that he can drive these low. He's just a freak. Like the way he can drive is. I mean, he drives so much. He's one of those. It's like where you give like what they say about beware the man who has only one gun because he knows how to use it, sort of thing. Like it's that sort of thing. Like he's driven that same car for however many years, like over a decade, sort of thing. Yep. So he knows exactly how to handle it.
And why don't you think you are not seeing him involved in the other sanctioning bodies? Why don't we see him like maybe transferring over to FD or go up in the D1 ranks? Well, I do know for a fact that he did petition at the beginning of the year. I think there's a guy called your son from like Garage RYO, who was his manager right now. They wanted to, and I had a bit of a talk. It was actually when Kevin, the technical director, Kevin
was
Wells.
at Kevin Wells was at Ibarra. I said, how can we get Nakamura to petition? He's like, all right, well, just we'll talk to him, sort of thing. The way Kevin talks. So, but apparently, I think just because of for various reasons that got denied. The reason I guess I can say this because everybody knows it. The reason why he's not doing like D1 that sort of thing is because D1 requires you to hold a current driver's license, which he does currently not.
Yep.
For various reasons.
What reasons are those?
Well, for probably reasons that he probably doesn't want to say. He doesn't have a driver's license, which is why he only drives I think Drift Muscle and the King of Asia that we just saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, Alexi. So we've been pretty much 1 hour and 21 minutes with you, and it's been awesome. I think we could be going for another hour and a half.
Yeah, I really want to do another 3 hours about just the culture.
Easily. But
get me back on another time. Well, we can do this again.
No, we will. Absolutely, we will. But for now,
you're our correspondent on the streets in Nippon.
Exactly. For now, we want you to pull up.
That's unpaid, by the way. We're not going to pay you.
There you go. It's free. We don't pay shit.
That's fine.
Deal.
We want you to pull out your phone and go into your Instagram.
Oh, we're going to do this reverse style. We want him to answer the questions.
We also want him to read some of the questions.
All right.
I gotta say this is something very, very particular, Alexi. You were talking about earlier. You were talking about like, well, I don't know, like the people if he likes me or not. Like, dude, you are the guy with the most amount of questions from the audience so far.
We asked on Instagram what people would like to ask you about your episode, and we've got a bunch of answers on there. I don't think we should leave them entirely up to him because I don't want to let him off easy. I don't want him to not. We can like shoot a couple from our own choice, but we will also like you to go into our Instagram right now, and we tag you.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it right now. Yep.
And you see, there's way over 50
Okay, so
questions.
as you can see, the important one here is at the end of someone's question. Alika80 says, "Which series do you like better, D1 or FD?" Obviously, you're not going to make anyone upset by this, so go ahead and ask or answer, please.
Was that Alika?
Well,
yeah.
Aloha. Mahalo.
Well, I mean, I've been watching D1 since day one. I was ordering
D1 from day one.
What up?
Pretty much, I was ordering DVDs that cost like $40 from the local Japan Book Plaza in Sydney, Australia. Like I was begging them, please, you got to bring this DVD in so I can watch it. So I enjoy watching D1 because it has such a long history, and all the people I know who drive now have been watching them for so long. So that's in my heart. But as far as pushing the level of not just driving, but also car building, and also the fact that there's guys out there, and not many yet, but there's guys out there who are making their living off doing this. Yeah. And the fact, and even more important, is the fact that there's it's the result of that there's kids out, like 16-year-old kids or whatever, buying a 240 and go, I'm going to tube frame this like from day one. Like there's people who want to be Formula D drivers, which is I think that is the most amazing thing that you can do. Like, I mean, that with extreme sports, they have extreme sports. All the kids buy skateboards. They do this. So I think that's the amazing thing about Formula D is the extra layer of culture that it's added to. Like, and look, it's my hobby too. Like, I love this, and
it's diversity.
Well, I mean, I always say like another reason why I do the stuff I do. I make the videos I do is because I want other people to get hyped on the same stuff that I get hyped on, so that we can all enjoy this hobby even more.
And high on the sideways life.
That's I can go anywhere in the world now, and meet some dude who likes what I like. And I was in Munich a couple of years ago, and I later posted that I visited. I'm going to the BMW museum, and this dude who lived there is like, "Oh, hey, you're here. I'll take you somewhere." Like, and on the same trip, I went to the Czech Republic, and in this
Prague,
I went to Prague, but I went to this place called Český Krumlov in the mountains. Like, it was like 2 hours in this sketchy bus that blew a fuel line on the way. It was crazy. And it's this little town called Český Krumlov. There's like a castle there. And again, I mentioned somehow I saw that one of my fans lived there. I was like, "Oh, I've been there." And the guy's like, "No way." I was like, "Yeah." And I posted a picture of me like eating at a cafe there. And he's like, "Oh man, if I'd have known, I could have done this." So like, I think that's the most amazing thing. Like, we're getting people from King of Nations, guys from bloody Kuwait. I mean, when would I ever meet a dude from Kuwait who likes anything that I like? But I think that it's gotten this big now.
So your very loose answer, I think, is that all drifting is fucking awesome, and then we should stop picking sides and just enjoy the sport that we all love. Can I interpret?
Hey, look,
that?
I mean, you can watch the live streams where I'm talking
Yep.
about Formula D. You can watch my live streams at D1. You can.
There you go.
It's the more entertainment. I'd every weekend. if you can.
Exactly. It's just like, you don't have to stop watching one show just because you like the other one.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, while you sort through all the questions, let me look for one right here. And it's from the Maverick 32. And it says, which American car would you like to drift?
If any, LOL.
If any, LOL.
If any, LOL.
LOL.
Geez, I don't know. American car.
Yeah.
Well, it'd either be like a Mustang or a Challenger, I guess. Like just one of those big two-door, coupes with
just
the-
because they've been developed?
Just-
or-
Just so you know,
Yeah,
Daigo owns that Challenger from, wasn't it?
Sam Hubinetz?
Yeah, Sam Hubinet's
you
Challenger
serious?
is in Japan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you know what he did to it? He absolutely destroyed the bottom end of it.
What?
As a goof, just to say "fuck you, America."
No, he was fully seriously driving it at the Ebisu.
Yeah, it was Abisu.
Nishi round.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounded amazing. It was by far by at least twice the loudest car there. And I think I don't know exactly what happened, but I went into his pits and I saw the oil pan sitting there with the bearing cap, and like you know how it looks like when you eat like a bag of potato chips, and at the bottom of the bag it's like those little chunks of potato chips. It was like full of that, except they're made of metal. So
Wow.
yeah, I think he was a little bit pissed off.
He's probably gonna put a 2JZ on it.
No, well, fun fact: a couple years ago, he bought Dave Briggs' NASCAR Dodge V8 out of his 350Z.
Huh.
Is that
Fun
true?
fact. Yep, fun fact.
Damn.
Fun fact.
Fun
Yeah,
facts
it's,
with Corey.
that's also currently sitting in his workshop in a 180SX.
It's like
shell.
we're triangulating here. Like we know everything about the whole drifting world.
I don't know much.
Yeah. Do you see any questions? Yeah, over there, Alexi.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
How
please.
about I go through some? I could just sort of do a lightning answer.
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if I'll start at the bottom. Why did you sell your A85?
Oh, well,
I had to ask that because a
but-
couple people asked
Because-
why that happened.
And also read the username, please.
because they get real happy about that.
Oh, sorry. Big AUF, big big.AUF. Why did you sell your A85? Because I live in Tokyo, parking is very difficult here. I had to park at least it was about an hour away in the countryside, a little car park, and registration was coming up. Registration, insurance, and tax were all coming up in the same time. It burned me a couple of times because I'd go there one day and the starter motor was dead, and then I went there the next time and the battery was dead, and it just ended up being such a big pain in the ass.
But wait, your car was
And
parked an hour away?
Yeah, well, it's
Damn.
Tokyo, and I could only, and it was still like $60 a month to park it there.
That's crazy,
Like
though.
in a gravel car park outdoors. So
Yeah.
that's what are you gonna do? So I figured that it would be cheaper just to sell it now, and I sold it for $200 more than I bought it for. So I will buy another one, and the new owner's having all sorts of electronic issues with it. So
I hope you're happy with yourself.
yeah, well, and he's cool because he owns like 3. Well, the thing is, he sold me. I bought my current R32 missile off him, and he sold it to me with like a dodgy power steering line. So,
So you guys are both fucking each other. Good.
so I got my revenge. Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful.
One more.
Okay, well, he's already asked me one. Do you miss Australia? I miss dairy products from Australia, especially
What?
cheese.
No
Yeah,
good.
Japan
Are
is
you
not-
trying to say there's no good cheese in Japan?
There is good cheese, but the cheese here costs it like you could buy a block of like solid 24-karat gold for about the same price. So it's very expensive. It's very expensive.
Is it like Wagyu beef? It's like if you're going to get the good shit from the cow, it's going to cost you extreme amounts.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, Wagyu beef isn't that expensive here, but overseas it's so.
How
Because-
expensive
yeah,
is it there?
Oh, you can get the expensive stuff, but it's like I don't know, like $15 for a big steak. Like it's not
Fuck
that
off.
much.
God damn.
Yeah,
to get a
depends where you go, but
to get a Wagyu beef steak here, it would be like $50. That's insane.
yeah, sort of thing.
All right.
I'm very jealous.
Next question, Alexi, please.
Let's see. D1 Street Legal is awesome. Why can't we have FDSL? That's not a question for me.
I like.
If you had to
Hang on.
seduce one of the Maximum Driftcast
That's
hosts,
a
which
good
one
one.
would it be?
say username, please.
From Manutastic
There you
says that let's see. I think that if it had to be like we had to go out for dinner, maybe Paco.
Ah.
If it was going to be a night in like doing nerd stuff, probably Sam, because we'd probably end up sort of fighting over everything and then sort of wrestling and then falling on top of each other. And it's like,
fuck Corey.
Kind of like that scene in Lion King where,
yeah, like the scene in Lion King. Yeah. Here's a good one. Should J Hall 60 says, should Mad Mike bring his FD Japan drift car to use an FD stateside over his Miata based off his recent win?
Yep.
That car, the first time that car came out, was an absolute horror show, like disgustingly bad handling looking. It would have been embarrassing. But that round, man, he murdered that entire event, and it was a combination of like he was totally pumped and stoked and hyped that entire day, and
pumped, stoked,
just drove it. Yeah, pumped, stoked, hike, drove it like a maniac, and the car itself was just amazing. So yeah, I think he should.
I think the Miata is too short a wheelbase. I've said it on the show multiple times. I think Mad Mike is an excellent top tier driver, and seeing him, I've never seen him drive an FD in person, so I have no idea what he actually looks like in person driving an RX-7. But I think that just watching him manhandle that Miata around the course and just it being such a twitchy car, I would love to see the man drive an FD in FD.
Yeah, I think it'd be that car is amazing. So okay, here we go. Oh, you got your alcohol ready. Why hasn't he made his daily a drift van like Paco's drift van?
Oh,
why don't you work for it, dude? Get off your ass. That's what the guy's saying.
Yeah, well that I do drive a daily Toyota Town Ace. It is rear wheel drive, but it has a 3S FE like a Camry engine in it, and there is actually a part number for an LSD for that particular car, but. Nice. Answer is I don't want to spend money on it. However, because of the way the engine it is a 3S FE, technically you could put like a 3S GTE turbo or like a Beams engine in it, but maybe in the future I don't know. There's a few questions about FD versus when will Alexi visit the USA and get a taste of freedom and pet bald eagles? I did visit Los Angeles last year in July for sort of non-car related things, and I stayed in West Hollywood. It was about a block away from the
like Gay Town.
Is that what? No, the other direction. Like where all the can I say the
that's West Hollywood
Jewish area?
Paco,
but it's where all the
Paco's a resident racist over here. So.
Like, it was all like Jewish people were staying around there. Like that's where.
Whoa!
That's an okay thing to say.
Easy.
What he means is that it was financially productive.
No, I'm saying they were actually the dude, like all the people walking, the Hasidic people walking around. It was I was quite surprised. I was like, oh, okay, it's that sort of area. But it was like a block away from the Pink's hot dog stand.
Got.
But I think the more important question is when are we coming out to Japan, and when are you going to show us around there?
Anytime you want to come over, I have a van that it can't drift, but it can carry excited Americans around to see all the
fucking yeah.
Literally, no joke. Like now that my goal a few years ago was to travel across the country following drifting, and I'm happy to say that I've kind of done that right now, and I'm doing it right now. And the one place now that like really still gets me excited is Japan. So I want to hope that all three of us can make it out there soon. And now you're my first official connection other than Daigo, but I think Daigo hates me. I can't tell. Maybe because my driver ran over him at one point. But he's ran over a lot of drivers. Who's to say?
Another question that came up, Alexi, was I just totally lost it. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Hip.
Oh, there it is. It's actually from a very creative username. XX Bieber Babe 420.
Nice.
Bieber Babe 420.
69, XXX, XO.
How much does Paco's van offend you?
Jesus.
Follow up, do you think you can beat Paco in a fight?
I don't think I could beat anyone in a fight, to be honest.
I know Kung Fu.
Good to know.
But his van doesn't offend me at all. I
right?
quite like stupid drift vans. There was a guy over here.
Stupid drift.
There was a guy over here a long time ago. Well, it is, but there was a guy over here a long time ago who had like the exact same thing, like an SR20 powered drift Previa, like whatever they call it, Estima, they call it over here, with all like scaffolding pipe, stiffening frame in the back and that sort of stuff. And actually, there's a guy over here right now who has a what is it? There's a guy called Keisuke who drives a
Serena.
I can't. That guy. Yeah.
Oh, the SR20, the black one.
That's the one, yeah.
Oh, look at him! I sent him a couple stickers, the Hunivan stickers.
Oh, great. Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, we all friends now.
I randomly met him one night.
I don't know how to
at
say
the,
his name
Wanker.
because his name on Facebook is just like Japanese characters.
Oh, it's like Keisuke Kamimori, I think it is.
Yeah, tell him I say hi.
Yeah, okay. Well, I do actually have some video. I went out to Ibarra circuit to film him actually drifting that car one day. So I have onboard video of that drifting. It's just I'm waiting to make I'm waiting to make another video with like a van video, like my van video. I'm going to put it in there as well. So I've got some. You've got that to look forward to.
Dude, let's do
Damn
this.
van nerds.
We are the best.
We're gonna sign off now. I'm sure it's like 4 or 5 a.m. in Japan right now, right? Because I have no bearing. What time it is there?
It's one in the afternoon. So I'm just going to.
Oh, it's perfect.
Oh man, so let's talk for another what?
2 hours.
13 hours? No, we got like 13 hours to go. Well, enjoy
You see any other questions over there on the grams? Or
let's see.
Feel you good?
This guy said, "How's your Arabic? Did you learn something new other than was it Sabah al Khair?" I met these the Kuwaiti guys at Ebisu, and I asked them sort of to learn because I always like learning sort of new languages and stuff, like how to say hello in Arabic, and they Snapchatted me apparently.
You told them Wahastani.
But no, I just said how to say hello, and I get all these Snapchats from all these like Arab guys going, "Oh, your Arabic's really good," so I thought that's pretty cool. Let's see what else.
Nice.
What made you move to Japan? I like cars and I have yellow fever.
There you go.
What else? Let's see.
Well, let me give you the last one right here. If you could stay, would you? This one's from Stay Foul. It says, "Would you rather share a room at the Neverland Ranch with Caitlyn Jenner or Bill Cosby?"
Both sound like a good time.
Oh wow. Could I sneak out of the room? I'd climb out through an air vent. I think that sounds really creepy.
You're chained in bed.
I'm happy that you guys stayed on this call after I said we should cut it off because we're getting to the really good questions here.
Bill, I don't know, Bill Cosby.
Perfect.
Because I don't know, because he likes cars.
Because that guy knows how to party,
we could,
right?
We could talk. Haven't you ever heard the Bill Cosby record, 200 miles an hour? It's great. You got to listen to that. See, he talks about cars and his Ferrari and driving a. That's pretty much. That's how it goes. It's like, take it to the mechanic, and he says you just got to drive in first gear everywhere and blow up the carburetor. Like,
perfect.
It's great.
I respect the shit out of you, but also a terrible Bill Cosby impression. that was horrendous.
Okay. Nice.
0 points will be aborted, and you should all be ashamed.
I'm ashamed.
Okay.
So I'm about to perform seppuku on camera.
God. Thank God.
So everybody who's watching, Alexi, this is your fault right now.
Alexi, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thanks for divulging
very much.
all of the secret Japan tips and facts. And if you need our frequent flyer mile numbers, just text us, and we'll send them over, and you can buy our plane tickets, and we'll be right over there.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come to Phoenix and check out how hot the fuck it is here,
and how minor our drift scene is comparatively,
Yeah.
we're working on it, but it's no Ebisu.
Making it nice.
Sounds good. Well,
thanks a lot, dude.
Right.
Good luck in your.
Thanks a lot for your time.
All right, Alexi, we'll see you, man.
We'll definitely talk to you again sometime soon. Tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Tomorrow and then Monday. And then the weekend.
Yep.
All right.
Good night, dude.
Bye.
Bye. Dude,
I'm just proud to be an American because I feel like all those countries over there just real confusing, real not good.
I was gonna say something very terrible, but no, dude. I love.
We can only make so many jokes.
I love
Japan.
Japan. I love everything Japan.
I just want to talk to that man about Japanese rules and
like
laws
seriously,
for,
I mean, it's
for
like
hours.
regardless of drifting and stuff, we could just like talk to him for everything that has to be
because that's his entire. That's I think why he's become popular is that role of being able to interpret for the Western world and all that about that Japanese car life in a guy that's kind of in the middle because he didn't come straight up from the United States or Britain. He was close to Japan to begin with. Granted, in a
he's like right there. Like he knows what's up.
Yeah. And good guy to talk to get a pulse on the Japanese culture. And
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good taste of the Japanese culture right here on our table. I mean,
yeah, I tasted a bunch of these
look
shitty
at this
sweets.
diversity right here.
We drank some sake. We had some. We did not open up that Hello Kitty soy sauce, unfortunately.
I think Corey wants to sip on it. That's a straight up sip from the Hello Kitty
Low sodium, no.
soy sauce.
Is it-
No,
no,
this
it's not
is
low
a high
sodium.
sodium. This is a real shit.
All right, sorry guys. We're gonna leave for now, and we're gonna find some low sodium soy sauce and be back next week.
And eat a lot of sushi. Because
Yeah.
I mean, after all, we are in Japan right now.
Well, Corey doesn't eat sushi.
Yeah, he needs a
They need to make a spaghetti sushi.
McDonald's
No, spaghetti sushi. Is
spaghetti-o.
wrap a bunch of spaghetti around rice and
Thick
call it a day.
noodles.
Yeah.
Thick noodles around meatballs. I'm done. That's it. That's what I want.
Thick noodles around meatballs.com. That's where you can find Corey.
Jesus, what was that?
That was his
You
laugh
just like
snort.
swallowed boogers.
All right, so it's thicknoodles.meatballs.com. Paco, you are 2F.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Beautiful,
Paco's
beautiful.
awesome.
Beardless.
And 2F Performance and Tofu Drift Fan.
Beardless.
Corey is Street Standard at streetstrandard.org.
.gov.
Street
.gov.
stranded.
And I am
Drift Baka.
Lemon Party.
Drifto Baka.
Lemonparty.org. Nope, not that.
Enough with the lemon
I really
party.
should stop saying that because
Yeah, people already. Yeah.
someday maybe someone might want to give us like $1 or $2 to do the show, and I think that they might not want that. But
They don't want. Yeah. No,
we'll go
absolutely.
from there when we get there, you know. But thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed our taste of Nippon and the taste of Corey's nipples. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Wait, what?